Welcome back from the break. We still have with us constitutional lawyer Evans Ufeli, who joins us here. Let's take a look at what's going on in Delta States. Looking at our time, former governor, let's use the lingua, potting to another political party and saying that he regrets having been having worked with former Vice President Okowa. And then you also have the current, who has also said, you know what, I'm joining the party. Of course, he's now the APC leader in the state. I mean, you're a concerned citizen, and you've been following this very closely within that region. What's your take on this?
Yeah, my take is that for the past 6 days after the defection, they were going all around the media to convince people that the reason they defected was to bring development to the people of Delta State and to align Delta State with the center. In fact, at some point, one of the officials said the purpose is to plug Delta State into the, and these are lies. Okay, I'm the president of Concerned Citizens of Delta, and many people are not happy about what has happened because the switch in alliance or in allegiance is for their pockets. It's just for the purposes of their selfish interests. They do not represent us. They do not represent us, okay? I mean, the current governor, the people of Delta State, even some of the people defecting with them are not happy. The governor himself made an order. He gave an order. He gave an order that his followers, his commissioners, his whatever, should go and join and go and register with the APC, okay? So, Delta State is a foundational member of the PDP from 1999. Okay. Then you wake up one morning, you want to plug us into. We were not consulted. Okay, there was nothing like consultation.
But one of the guests joined and said they consulted
the Delta State Commission of Information. They said they're acting in the best interest of Delta.
I know Charles Anyago. Charles Anyago, few days to that, was vilifying the APC. Few days to that, talking, I know him very well, okay? So what changed? It was not up to 1 week. He was in that before they switched, okay? So for their own pocket, let me just tell you why they left. Okowa embezzled 1.3 trillion of the Commonwealth of Delta State. He used this to chase a white elephant project to become the vice President of Nigeria with Atiku in 2023. He used all that fund to pursue that nonsense, and with someone like Atiku that had no political capital. And when that crumbled, the current governor, at the time when Okowa did that, was the Speaker of the State House of Assembly. And because the legislature approved expenditures, because it was actually loan. So he was the one who was approving all that. And so, Okowa and the current governor, they're actually in the same ship. The reason the current governor has not been picked, like Okowa, is because of immunity. Is that they are both the same thing. So both of them are working in criminal concert, okay, to defraud Deltans, to impoverish Deltans for their personal gain. Now, and so because they know that they switch over, they know that, like Adolfo Shumole said, I mean, we all know that Akpabio was in this same position that Okowa was when he left office, and he had to move to APC, and his sins were forgiven. So that's exactly what Okowa has done, to move there and to go about gallivanting all over the place to say that is to develop data, is to plug data.
APC,
this
the long and short of it is that APC membership grants you some sort of immunity.
Yes.
So what's the gain for APC in taking them into their fold?
The gain for APC is 2027. They want to win as many states as possible, okay, to return Tinubu. That's exactly what's going on. So as a president, the more states you have, the more, you need 24% of 25 states to become the president. So as many states as possible that they can grab. In the last election, they didn't win Delta. Now they're adding it to their feathers. And our politicians are going up and down, ask these people, these governors, and
most
what is the
are likely to join? Most state governments.
More states are likely to join. Okay, because many of the governors have skeletons in their cupboard. They have sins that need to be forgiven.
So how can EFCC work independently? Is it possible, is a pipeline dream, to say, look, we're going to pursue these petitions regardless of what orders or directives come from the presidency? Because the files are there. They invited these persons of interest for meetings and they know what is really going on. Are we going to have a true EFCC that works for the people and not any political party?
It's difficult for you to have an independent EFCC when the president is the one that appoints the head of the EFCC. It's difficult. If it's only in clans where Attorney General is voted by the people or the head of the EFCC is voted by the people and all that,
then they can be independent. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, regardless of how powerful he is still facing trial. It's being prosecuted for corruption.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We don't have the political will to do that here. I mean, these people are subservient to the presidency. The law enforcement agency, they are subservient to the presidency. So the president said, don't prosecute these people. Even when you prosecute them, just like in Oborevwori's case, you will give them pardon.
So I have two questions.
So we will take off the sins. The president can still take off the sins.
So we had a $1 trillion issue here, and the EFCC
1.3 trillion
prosecuting people that spraying money.
Yes, that's it now, so that they are working.
I have two questions, but I think the first one would be, do you think that the people of Delta State can see through all this that you have highlighted? And do you think it will reflect different when they go to the polls?
Well, the people of Delta State, they know what is going on. They know that this is not for them, but they are scared of talking. I'm about the only voice in the entire state that's against this thing. No, that's talking. Many people are against it, but that could come out and talk. Many of them, especially the one man where I came from, he will go under the radar, he will enter the water, he won't hear anything because of what to eat. And I'm speaking to them. You understand? So we have been impoverished, and we cannot allow this to fester uncontrollably. We have to do something about it. These people are the black sheep of Delta. We must, in fact, we should ostracize them. If it had been in the olden days, we would take Agogo and take them before the shrine and call on the God of creation or whatsoever God we ask for to strike them, because they have finished Delta State completely. You look, ask them, what is the investment of the current governor or the past governor, the one before, on the citizens? Nothing.
All right. Nothing. My second question is about the PDP. What does this reflect about the strength, the structure, and the influence of the People's Democratic Party in Delta State and globally, nationally?
Yeah, from the center, they made a statement that they are going to go to court. Okay, because the mandate is not theirs; it's the people's mandate, and it's actually a political party that contests elections. Okay, and win or lose election, even though the Constitution did not make provision for the executive when they defect.
Only the legislature.
Only the legislature. And the legislature, there's even a condition. You have to also show and prove that there's dispute in the party and the party is unable to function effectively. Okay. So, but that notwithstanding, the PDP at the center still want to go to court to test it. And I think it's fine to do that so that we can test and entrench our laws, whether it is right to switch allegiances just like that and then abandon the people that gave you the mandate. And then you come back to tell them that you are going to plug them for Abuja. How much revenue has that added to the city of? If not for criminality, the current governor has no business defecting. He's doing well technically. He has no business, at least within his predecessor and all that. He's trying to stand out, but because of their past, they have to go and look for how to protect themselves to get their second term and then to get their sins forgiven.
The Commissioner of Information, Delta State, said that he used the analogy of a car. He said they thought what they had was a punctured tire, but then on closer examination, he found out that it was the brain box that was damaged. So he has connected to the central nervous system of a Abuja. He used the example of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was in opposition as governor of Lagos. There was only when APC aligned with the center, APC Lagos and APC Center, that we could see projects like the Lagos Calabar, and they also want to get the best from the federal purse. I did say, and I told him that, look, the president was alone in opposition. He didn't.
He was alone.
He was alone. He said now that he said, okay, that they don't want to suffer the things he suffered. They want to enjoy the benefits of having a government in the center. Does that argument hold water?
The argument does not hold any water. It's just compounding. The man is confused because I know him one-on-one, and when I see him also, I will usually tell him that he's confused because if Tinubu had left ACN or AD, and when there was a time when PDP took over
Southwest,
it was only one left, and he stood his ground. You know, very patient. Even when he had the opportunity to become the vice president in 2015, he didn't take it. He brought in Osinbajo. That was why when he was saying Emilokon, it sounded somehow to us that, is this man okay in democracy? But he knew what he was talking. Yeah, because he had gone through so much. And he knew what he was saying. It may not be right. And for the first time, I'm talking like I support him on that issue. He stood his ground. Okay? Today you have governor, deputy governor. I mean, you order everybody to move to a political party. You don't know where
you guys for the people.
What is the attraction of the APC? The same APC that have impoverished the entire country, that have brought us to ruin. So they don't have any justification other than it is that criminality hanging on their neck. That is the reason that he's saying all this and saying there's no other thing that are there.
A lot is also being said because the question now would be, now that they've moved to the APC, is it secured, as it were? The vote is already secured. And if you say that they're disgruntled Deltans, how can they prove that they're disgruntled when they go to the polls? Can you guarantee that their thumbprint would actually prove that they're disgruntled or they're not happy? Or would it be a case of they're just going to the polls for going's sake? However, the bag has been secured in one way or the other. So there's a lot. I mean, there's INEC there to talk about. There's also...
To add to what George said, the polls are in 2 years' time. Do we have that discipline to remember the injury that was caused to us in 2026?
Yes, that is for the people. That is for the people to determine. But I'm very, very scared of the people. I do not have absolute trust in the people because of their disposition towards situations. Some of them have been so ravaged by poverty, impoverished to the point where coming out on the day of election, they are coming out with the mindset that I have my allegiance. Who is going to buy it? Vote buying will take a chunk of, they will no longer know what they are doing any longer. It happened in my estate. We had a meeting in my estate where we said, we are going to ensure that nobody sells vote in the last election. I heard that our secretary to this, we all agreed. On the day of election, we came out and we all, posted and all that. So, before you know it, all of a sudden, some persons came and I saw members of my estate collecting money and they going up to the queue.
That's at the estate level.
Yes, at the estate.
Was this in Lagos or in Delta Way?
Was
this in Lagos or in Delta Way?
In Lagos. Ooh. So I started protesting. Then I called the chairman, the CDA chairman, that look at what is going on. We had an agreement on this and he said, which agreement did we have? He had sold his own vote 2 days before the election. And that people came out, collected money in my presence. I was disgruntled. I protested to the point where they bundled me out of the place. So that is the thing about the people. When you want to rely on them to make a change, you will not see them comply for that change. So this society has been screwed in a way that people will realize their future for the moment.
For a bread.
Yeah, they will just that's a microcosm of entire society. So if they can behave like that,
so I'm scared that these people may not remember the injury again, and they may want to begin to go around. Because remember, these people are still going to come to them during the election. The leaders are still going to come to them and promise them whatever it is they want to give them and buy their votes or influence them or do all that. They will forget about it.
All right. Anyway, I think we'll count down to see what will happen, and hopefully we'd like to have you back and see the future.
Well, before we wrap up, I just want him to share his thoughts on a conversation we had at the start of the show, which is the staging of the walkouts in Rivers State. I don't know if you saw that there was a gathering and these women walked out. The reports we have are that it was the First Lady who was hosting the people. Unfortunately, she couldn't be there personally, but she had the wife of the sole administrator representing her, and they walked out. Wiki has described it as a show of shame on the people in Rivers State, the women in Rivers State, that it's a show of shame and an embarrassment to the people of Rivers State, and he's apologized to the First Lady for the disrespect, obviously alluding to the fact that a disrespect to the wife of the sole administrator, who is standing in the capacity of the First Lady, is also a disrespect to the First Lady. Do you agree?
She's not a First Lady, and the husband is an illegal entity in the state. So he's a stranger. There is no law that gave him that portfolio. He's there because the president decided to apply extra-constitutional means to govern the state. So I don't think that. This is to tell you that these women, you think that they are illiterate. These masses, you think they don't know what they are doing, they don't know anything. They can stand for their rights too. They can take the stage and tell you what. They say they want for what you can't bring in. That's actually the person that they donated their allegiance to. Not the person there now. The person there now is a stranger. Okay? So there's nothing wrong in that. They are working out. It's protest. Everywhere in the world, protest is recognized. Even in the Bible, protest is biblical. Yes, it's a big issue. You understand? So saying that they work with First Lady, which First Lady? Under what law? Is it the First Lady? There was even the law even recognized the office of the First Lady. Somebody just came out. I mean, if Tinubu's wife had been there, that's the same thing that they would have done. They would have even done more because the husband had removed the governor. You understand? So I don't think that's any kind of a... Because, you see, our leaders believe that everything they are doing, that the people accept. They assume that they are surprised. Even when the president's wife went to Delta State to say, now our mama believes and all that, the people refused. And she was surprised. I was wondering, why is she surprised? Okay, you think you have legitimacy?
Are you their mother?
I mean, you don't have legitimacy. The sovereignty belongs to the people, through which government derives its legitimacy. That's the Constitution, Section 14(2). So the people, they are the ones that will decide what legitimacy is. So you don't need to be surprised. Wike is saying it's an embarrassment, that is apologizing to whatever. In fact, there's a report I saw where he was accusing Fubara of sponsoring those.
Saying that you can't be saying you want.
Yeah, and I think that is wrong. Fubara not sponsor anybody.
Just before we leave you, there's one other issue we need to talk on, because you've been an advocate for prison decongestion. It's the state of a video emerged on social media over the weekend of correctional facility in Jos. I mean, I'm sure if they do the food the animals eat in London Zoo must be suitable for human consumption. That's how much the standard is. And this is what the prisoners in Nigerian prisons. The Comptroller General of Prisons has come out to deny this. He's denied. He said they get about 1,200 feeding allowance.
There's been an increase from 1,100.
That there's been an increase from 1,215 and what have you. My question is this. There's a huge percentage of Nigerian prisoners that are awaiting trial inmates. There's serious prison congestion in all facilities, in all correctional facilities. How can they, from your point of view and from your interactions, decongest these prisons? At least if the population is reduced, they'll spend less on food, and then the ones that are there that should be awaiting, that should be carrying out their sentence would eat food that is suitable for human consumption and dignity. What do they need to do?
Well, what they need to do to decongest the prison is, first, it starts from the court. Not every sentence should be custodian sentence. Okay, there are some of these sentences that should be for community service and all that. That decongests the prison. So you don't need to put them in custody. They go, then the governors of states They are not signing death warrants. Nobody is signing death warrants.
Why? Do they think their spirit is going to come and hunt?
Yeah, but I don't know, but nobody is signing death warrant as we speak. And even when, yeah, it signed a few years ago when 4 persons were. Even when you sign as a governor, and then the person has been condemned and you sign, there's no hangman in Nigeria. No hangman. So there are not those who have been condemned to die by hanging.
Who's going to do the job?
How do you mean there's no hangman?
There's no hangman.
Vacancy.
There's vacancy. Okay, but people are not applying. People don't want to take the job.
People are going into tech.
So
what happened to firing squad?
So that's it's no longer that was under the military.
Oh, okay.
Capital punishment like murder, armed robbery, and all that is death by hanging.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have legal injections.
No, we don't have that now.
Sentenced to die by hanging.
They are supposed to do that. So the issue is that if the governors are not signing death warrants,
there's no
the prison will not be decongested if
they're not charging people.
They are not charging people within the time, because every problem there will be. If all the sentences you are doing is custodial, you will have problem. Then the issue of the food. You see that food is the only people who eat that food are those who do not have anybody.
Yeah.
You understand? And they are not too much. The government still budget for everybody.
Yeah.
So that money is embezzled. Because if there are 50 people in the prison, 200, 100, government budget for everybody, assuming but not conceding that all of them.
How do the others feel?
All of them. Yeah. Others, no, people don't. No, people, there are a lot of people.
Vendors.
Yeah, we have prisoners that built a chapel inside the prison. We have prisoners that put warders on salary. So not everybody is impoverished. People have people who bring food for them, send them money, they cook their own food and they eat their own food. You understand? It's just the minority that rely on that thing you are seeing. But it is the whole inmate that is budgeted for by government.
So the money is going somewhere.
Yes.
The Minister of,
the Controller General of the prison and then the Minister of Interior.
2025 budget for feeding and catering for inmates in Nigeria is 30 billion naira.
38 billion across the country. And I
believe the entire prison population should be less than 60,000. I believe.
Yeah. So when you have that, I don't have the statistics, but when you have that, you see that the money is being embezzled. You know, I've been to a prison custody one time where, you know, I went to see my clients and I was discussing and all that. They said there was an NGO that came and they brought food, and then the food didn't get to some prisoners. That's all the food that the prisoner ought to have been taken by the warders. So I was now asking myself, who among the inmates and the warders actually need reform? Because if you steal food that belongs to an inmate, I think the lowest of yes, and there is a prison, my friend who was convicted at some point, when he came out, he told me about the prison custody and the way that when they want to take excreta out of the sockaway, the prisoner will get into the sockaway with a bucket to bail out feces.
That's what Alabi was sharing.
Yes, to bail out.